I'm about to show you the exact three-step process you need to build the most qualified prospect lists for your agency or promotional products company. This process helps you find companies not only at the right revenue level that can actually afford your services, but they actually have a need for what you offer, and they're decision makers who can actually make buying decisions so that you can plug these leads into your outbound campaigns, book more meetings, and close more deals. And the best part is, I'm going to show you how to do all of this inside one or maybe two platforms so that it's simple and basically saves you a ton of money in the process. And we've built prospect lists of over, 200 to 300 to 400,000 prospects using almost every tool I'm about to show you and more. So we know exactly what separates high quality lists from terrible ones. All right, so the tool you're going to use to build your qualified prospect lists is not Apollo, not ZoomInfo, not Sales Navigator. You're going to use Clay.com. Clay is a relatively new platform for lead list building, enriching contact details, and just finding unique data points for prospects at scale. It's become like the new go-to in the market for lead generation, and even becoming like above Apollo and everything else. It's really good. So I'm going to show you how it works here and how you can build your qualified prospect list. So for step one, we want to build a list of companies and job titles within them that just have the firmographic fit to work with you. Think about industries, company size, technology, maybe all that good stuff. So if you're targeting corporate industries like technology, professional services, healthcare, you're going to use Clay directly. But if you're targeting local businesses, there's an extra step involved. But let's start with corporate. So you're going to use Clay's Find People feature, which is basically going to allow you to just edit filters to build a list of companies. So you have industry, company sizes, description, keywords, location, all that good stuff. So the best way to do this and map out your ideal accounts is you want to use ChatGPT and give it a description of your ideal accounts, and then ask it which filters should I use within Clay to find these companies. If you don't have a clear ideal account, let's say you work with a variety of industries, you have a bunch of case studies all over the board, I would just look at the clients where you've delivered your best results in terms of monetary results, or the ones that have bought from you the most, ideally both, right? And once you've identified these clients, you can define their industry, their business size, and then just give that to ChatGPT and have it tell you the Clay filters to use. So if you were targeting accountants, you would go financial services, and then keyword here would be accounting, and then you would just find a bunch of accountants, right? That's pretty much it. And then once you've actually built your list, so you want to click on, and let's say we're going to go United States, and we want to target, companies in 10 to 50, 52 to 100. We would then continue here, and then this would basically take us to the page where now we have the list of companies. Next, you want to go to sources, find people at these companies to find the decision makers. And then you would simply, your list would already be plugged in here. So find companies table. And then you would just go on job title and look for the specific decision makers within the company. So again, you can also use ChatGPT for this, or you can just look at the people who you've closed the most and the prospects that you actually want to speak to. So following me, CMO, CEO, depending on who you're targeting, right? And you also want to add the location filter again, just because it tends to pull people from random countries sometimes, even from the lead list. So just something to keep in mind. But if you are targeting local businesses, you'd want to use D7 Lead Finder to build the list of companies first. So what it allows you to do is you can go on bulk search, and then you can pick a keyword. So basically how this works is it finds companies that are in Google Maps, because Google Maps has more local businesses, so like home services and stuff like that, instead of LinkedIn. Clay, Apollo, all these lead list building tools, they pull their data from LinkedIn. You want to pull your data from Google Maps because they're local businesses. So let's say we go plumbers, and then you just choose your cities. So, top 100 US cities, whatever. It's based on cities, so you can, click whatever just to get a bunch of leads. You would add 200 cities, and then you would fetch the leads, and then it would get them for you. It would get you the name of the company, the website, their reviews, all that good stuff. And then once you have your list here, you would just go back to Clay again. You would import your CSV, and then once you have the CSV, you're going to be inside of another table just like the one we were in. You're going to click again, sources, find people at these companies, and then you have your list here, and then you just do the same thing. You add the job titles. But here, another thing you want to do just to add a little bit more of, removing the unqualified leads, is to actually go on companies company attributes and go on company sizes. So when you scrape from D7, it doesn't allow you to filter by headcount just because it's not an available data point within Google Maps. So you want to use this and just filter them out for like whatever employee headcount you're looking for. And then obviously job titles, location again, and then you continue. And then now you have a list of prospects, of decision makers, not just companies. So now that you have this list, you have to do this next step accurately if you want to remove time wasters, because this isn't the end of it. So step 2 is to do your lead scoring and qualification. This is the absolute most important part, because what you're going to do is run a lead scoring waterfall enrichment on your lead list to filter out the bad leads and only keep the ones that would have the need and potentially the right timing to buy from you. So this is a multi-step process. We're going to basically run integrations that are going to pull info about prospects, and then we're going to score them based on that information to see which ones are qualified, which ones are not. So all the integrations are here. If you go to actions and then you go to enrichments, view all enrichments, integrations, you can find a bunch of integrations. So find out, if the company, find out the company's technology stack. For example, find the employees at the company. Another one would be find company corporate structure. Find company's Instagram. Find out, find issue with the company. Another one could be find lookalike companies. This one doesn't really apply, but you get the point. You can find out if companies are running ads. You can find out if companies are running Google ads, Facebook ads, all that stuff. You can get their website traffic. You can get their competitors, their traffic sources. If you do SEO, all that stuff, right? And you can find their products if they're an e-commerce store, a bunch of stuff. But what you want to do is you want to first, before running and playing with all of this, you want to identify the buying signals. So how you do this is you need to basically find out what prospect is most likely to buy from you. And how you do this is you would ask ChatGPT for buying signals. But before that, what you want to confirm is, out of all of these prospects, who is actually within the industry I'm looking for? Because that's the baseline point, right? It's the industry. So what we like to use for this is a tool called an enrichment called ClayJet. So you go here, it's a native enrichment. Basically is an AI web researcher. You prompt it and then you run it and it goes across all of your rows, researching your prospects at scale. It's very cool. So how you do this is you first give it your ideal client persona description. So I'm targeting companies in the accounting space, and then confirm that these companies are accountant firms with yes or no. No maybes. And then what'll happen is you generate, and then it'll create like an optimized prompt that you can run, and then you can run this row, and then it'll basically say yes or no. And once it gives you the yeses or nos, you can go here. So here it's writing the prompt for you, very explicit. Very good stuff. Save. Let's just run 10 rows just to see what it does. Obviously, it's going to say no for all of them because we didn't do the filtering. And then you just filter out for the ones that are going to say no. So accounting firm equal to no. And then these are the unqualified ones from the get-go. But we're still going to run other enrichments. This is just the main enrichment that I like to run. And I'm starting to really like it just because it's kind of allowing you to remove everyone that you might have thought was in the industry based on the keywords that you were doing in the like, the Clay find people search or find company search. But in reality, sometimes it's inaccurate. That's just the nature of the game, because companies have keywords that aren't really indicators that they are these companies. Maybe they help accountants and they just have, hey, we help accountants in the website, and then you get them pulled in as an accountant. But after you run this one, for the ones that it does say yes to based on the industry you're targeting, now you filter for those and you start working on finding the buying signals within this list. So how do we do this? You want to start with ChatGPT. How you want to think about this is what information is available online that I can find about prospects. So you tell ChatGPT, what are the top 3 publicly available signals that indicate that my ideal client input, the ideal client persona description, needs my offering. Give it your services, whether that's marketing, whether that's promotional products. And then once you have those signals, you plug them into Sculptor and Clay. What Sculptor is, you can see chat here with Sculptor. It's basically, I showed you all of these enrichments here, but what Sculptor allows you to do is it can just do all the searching for you, which is pretty cool. It can do everything and then just find the ones out of all of these enrichments that would be the best fit. So, find out the company's YouTube video, whatever. So you come here and then you give it the information that ChatGPT gives you. So, I want to find out if the companies are running ads, Meta, and that they are running a webinar funnel, and that their top competitor is, I don't know, or let's remove that, and that they were recently funded, for example. You plug that into Sculptor, and a big one I recommend is actually running ads, not just Meta, but Google. So there's an enrichment here that finds out if they're running ads. And the best thing about this is that if they're running ads, whether you're selling promotional products or marketing services, it's like a strong buying signal, because I know a lot of you guys sell to marketing departments. And if they're spending already on marketing, on paid ads, that is a big sign that they're a high intent lead. So I pretty much always want you to do that, and I always encourage it. So AI powered column, get meta ads column. So it's figuring out what integrations it needs. And then once it gives you these integrations, what you can do is you can run the rows on each and every single lead, just like we're doing here with the accounting firm. And then what's going to happen is I would recommend you putting them in the priority sections. So you want to basically give yourself the opportunity to speak to a lead, even if they don't have all the intent signals. You want to lay out the intent signals in a priority fashion. So they must be running ads, they must have a webinar funnel, but it doesn't really matter if they're hiring for a CMO. That's great, right? So you would basically add each enrichment as a priority, and then the leads that are matching at least two of them, where the score is yes or no, or if you're scoring the leads out of 10 based on likelihood, because sometimes, it'll be better to score out of likelihood, like the likelihood that this company, has X, Y, or Z, or is thinking about X, Y, and Z, the stuff that isn't really a tangible result within the company, then you would basically put them in as priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. And then once all the columns run, you can be like, okay, cool. Every company that has a 5 score in column 1 and has a yes, not a no in column 2, that is a qualified lead. And then you would just take these leads and reach out to them. So here, meta ads data, add column, perfect. Webinar funnel presence, setup column, great. Latest funding, add column, even better. So literally there is a column for each and every single one of them. You just have to run every single one of them. And then once you get the result, you would just filter for the ones here, add filter, where, and then just go in each enrichment, lagging a little bit, go in each enrichment, and then add whatever result you're looking for. And then you'll only have a list of qualified prospects, which is absolutely tremendous. But all of this does not matter if you do not enrich and verify their contact info in the next step. So step 3 is you want to enrich and verify their contact info by getting either their emails or phone numbers, depending on which outbound channel you use. And there are 2 tools that we're going to use for this. You're going to create something called waterfall enrichment. You're going to come here, add a column, waterfall. Waterfall is basically going to be a email finder is going to run a row and try to find emails for every single prospect. If it fails, or phone numbers. If it fails, then the other one's going to try to fetch them. So you basically have a double shot. And they mainly use different methods from what I've heard. So it's going to be very likely that you pull in as many emails as possible. But it is possible that you don't pull emails for some leads, which is very fine. So add action, find work email. The first one you want to use is Lead Magic. Save waterfalls and then email here. We take this one, save the waterfall step, add another action, define the work email. Prospeo is the second tool you want to use. Email, save waterfall step. And you want to put Prospeo before Lead Magic because it's cheaper, so you want to get the biggest likelihood of getting the cheaper one. And then the data type is obviously an email. Save and run 10 rows, for example, just so you can see how this works. So now you have Prospeo trying to get their emails. If Prospeo doesn't get their emails, so see, no emails found for Prospeo, Lead Magic called it in. That's absolutely what we're looking for. So you want to run that on the list. If you want to get phone numbers, it is literally the exact same process. We just write find mobile number and then Prospeo and Lead Magic both do the same thing. But with mobile numbers, you want Lead Magic to be first because it is cheaper on that end. So it's literally quite the opposite. Now, once you have the emails, you want to validate that the emails exist so that you don't send them to, prospects. They're going to bounce basically, and you're going to land in spam. And with phone calls, you're just going to be calling landlines and wasting your time with gatekeepers when you really want to be reaching decision makers. So what should you do here? You should add another action, verify email, or we'll get into phone number in a second. You want to use never bounce or no bounce, zero bounce, I think is what it was called. Here it is. Yep, validate email. And you want to run this and then have it validate your email addresses. And then if you're doing phone numbers, then you want to go clear out phone. That's the enrichment. Check phone line type. And then phone number has to be, you just pick the column where the phone number is, and then you say mobile number only, because you only want to reach mobile numbers, and then you run the field. Now, an important thing to note is, with all of these enrichments, you're either going to be spending Clay credits or your own money. How this works is, Clay gives you free credits at first when you sign up for even a free trial. So if you sign up for a free trial, you get free Clay credits, so that's great. But if you sign up and buy these tools externally, you can add your API keys inside Clay and pay less because Clay credits are really expensive. Once you start getting into the paid plans for Clay, 10,000 credits is like $369, and then I think it only goes like up or maybe a little bit down from there. So you don't really want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to buy each of these tools externally, get your API key, and then add it here. So if you check here, one of the tools, Lead Magic, for example, select Lead Magic account. So you can select the Clay managed Lead Magic account or add your own API key, just like we have here. So that's what I recommend because they're cheaper. And you want to buy these tools because obviously they get the best contact data. And that's pretty much the whole process. Now you have no excuses. Go set up your Clay account right now with the affiliate link in the description and start building qualified lead lists that actually convert into sales meetings. And if you want us to build your lists through this whole process and run your outreach and book the meetings directly on your calendar, you can book a call using the link below in the description. We do it on a done-for-you basis. And if not, you can check out the full guide I made on how to set up cold email to book these meetings once you have these lists as well. Thanks for watching, and peace.